Many people who disagree with the current deportations often say that Jesus was an immigrant or a refugee because when Jesus was a baby, his parents, Mary and Joseph, fled to Egypt. Most of the people who make these comments are not Christians, so it doesn't surprise me that they take this story out of context and try to fit their modern idea of immigration on Jesus in a Middle Eastern society over 2,000 years ago. Jesus was not an immigrant or a refugee, and here's why. First, ancient Egypt was a part of the Roman Empire just like the ancient region of Judea. Bethlehem and Egypt were both a part of the Roman Empire. Yes, it was a different region or province, but it was all in the same empire. Mary and Joseph didn't cross an international border between two sovereign nations in the modern sense. It would be like if someone from California fled to Hawaii or Texas to avoid being persecuted by the governor of California. A modern refugee is a person fleeing their home country to another country, moving from one legal sovereign nation to another. That would be like someone fleeing California and going to Canada, or someone fleeing Mexico and coming to the United States. It's completely different. Second, Mary and Joseph fled to Egypt because King Herod was actively trying to kill baby Jesus. Modern immigrants who are fleeing Mexico, for example, are not leaving because someone is actively trying to kill them and their kids, albeit they're seeking a better life with higher paying jobs and better benefits and just an overall better lifestyle. But the vast majority of immigrants are not seeking asylum. Third point, God communicated to Joseph through a divine encounter. God sent an angel to tell Joseph to take Jesus and flee to Egypt. Joseph and Mary didn't go to Egypt just because they felt like it. They were being obedient to God. I highly doubt all modern immigrants are experiencing an angelic and divine message from God warning them to flee their country. Fourth point, Mary and Joseph's stay in Egypt was temporary and not permanent. Once King Herod died, they left Egypt and went to Nazareth. Most modern immigrants are not looking for a temporary stay in the US. They're looking to stay here permanently in the United States. So this idea that Jesus is the same as a modern day immigrant or refugee is completely weak and flawed. I've also seen people say that Jesus was an immigrant because he fled heaven and came to earth. The lack of reason in this statement is unbelievable. Jesus is God, and God doesn't lack anything. He is infinite. Immigrants flee because they are in need and lacking something like goods and resources. God doesn't need anything. God didn't flee heaven like a modern refugee because he was in danger. God cannot be harmed. God also did not cross physical or international borders like immigrants. He crossed dimensions, and he has jurisdiction in heaven and on earth. Ultimately, God came to fulfill his plan of salvation by dying on the cross for our sins. To compare God to a modern immigrant is not just weak and flawed, but it's complete irreverence to God. Jesus was not an immigrant or a refugee.